What's good, sports fans? Are you ready to elevate your live entertainment experience? Well, let me introduce you to SeatGeek, an amazing platform that connects you to your favorite events while saving you money. With SeatGeek, you can easily find tickets for sports games, concerts, and so much more, all in one place. The interface is user-friendly, making it simple to browse and compare prices. And one of the best features is the interactive seating chart. You can see exactly where you'll be sitting and how much you'll be spending, ensuring you get the best value for your money. But here's the best part. Check this out. By using my promo code, ChalkItUpSports, you can enjoy a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. That's right, $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Imagine catching that thrilling game or concert without breaking the bank. It's a win-win situation. Plus, you'll be a part of a community of fans who eat, sleep, and breathe live events just as much as you do. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to download the SeatGeek app today. And don't forget to use my promo code ChalkItUpSports for a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. Get excited. Now let's get back to the show. Let's go. What's good, Sixers fans? I'm your humble host, Tone DeShields II. You guys are tuned into a Sixers edition of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. So grateful to be here in the presence of all of you beautiful people. And I appreciate you guys even more for growing with me through this process here at Chalk It Up Sports. It's been a long time coming. We've had our ups, we've had our downs. We've been stagnant a little bit, but we are cooking with gas. And I am so grateful that you guys have been welcoming this increased coverage of your Philadelphia sports teams. We're not only covering the Eagles here, we're also going to give you guys some Sixers talk as well. I'm sorry, I can't help it. I like sports. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? And I got to talk about it with somebody, so I might as well talk about it with you guys, the people that I trust the most, the people that I feel the most comfortable around. So I appreciate y'all. I see y'all, and I'm grateful for y'all. Smash that like button. Smash that like button. And oh, by the way, smash that like button. I need you guys to also get comfortable. Kick your shoes off. Kick your feet up. Go get something to drink. Go get yourself a snack. You know what I mean? If you off today, go get your wake and bake, whatever it may be. Go get your noon spliff, whatever it is, whatever it is to get you in your vibe. Go do that. You feel what I'm saying? And some of y'all might be at work. Some of you guys may be on your lunch break. Some of you guys may be coming off your lunch break. Some of you guys may be in the car driving your Amazon trucks, your UPS or your FedEx trucks. Some of you guys may be driving long distance across the country. Our CDL drivers, our truck drivers, right? I want to give a shout out to you guys as well, man. I want to give a shout out to our first responders. I want to give a shout out to our military. I want to give a shout out to all the blue collar people holding it down in their respective cities, in their respective towns, in their respective states. I want to give a shout out to my people that's working in the kitchen. You feel what I'm saying? I want to give a shout out to my teachers. You dig me? I want to give a shout out to my plumbers, my carpenters, my electricians. You feel what I'm saying? I want to give a shout out to all the people who really go out there and get it and sacrifice time. I want to give a shout out to my steel workers, my welders. I'm going to give a shout out to the union guys. You feel what I'm saying? I want to give a shout out to the OnlyFans people. You feel me? You getting it how you live. You getting it how you live. So I appreciate y'all. And what kind of person would I be to not appreciate the people who serve me, right? I could be like the Sixers, and treat my fans, treat my supporters as if they just come and go, as if I don't owe them anything. And the reality is the Philadelphia 76ers owe you a lot. They owe you a lot. They owe you a ticket to the Eastern Conference Finals. Hell, they owe you a ticket to the NBA Finals. They owe you. This Joel Embiid situation is getting out of hand. If you guys haven't been keeping up with it, which I'm sure you have, the Sixers have been fined. They have been fined $100K, $100,000 for their participation in how they handled the Joel Embiid injury status. According to the NBA, the Sixers were not transparent. They were providing misleading statements to the media. And quite frankly, it's frustrating. And I believe Shams Charania for ESPN, he broke the news. Let me bring it up on screen here. Let me bring this up on screen. All right. So shout out to Shams. Shams does great work. He broke the news here. The NBA has fined the Philadelphia 76ers $100,000 for public statements around the health status of all NBA center Joel Embiid. I gotta be honest with y'all. This is something that is frustrating me to no end. And then it doesn't help when Nick Nurse is in their press conference refusing to answer questions, refusing to entertain any sort of discourse surrounding the NBA's decision, Joel Embiid's health. Nick Nurse isn't entertaining any questions. And look, I understand that he's being put in a tough situation. Trust me, I get it. Excuse me, you guys, something's in my eye. I understand Nick Nurse is being put in a precarious situation. I understand Nick Nurse does not want to be talking about a Joel Embiid injury or lack thereof. I get that. I totally understand that. I wouldn't want to be talking about it either. If we're being completely honest. Nick Nurse's job is to get this team ready so they can compete for a championship, so they can get out of the damn second round. He shouldn't have to have these conversations about Joel Embiid's health. This type of shit should have been squared away. He's clearly frustrated. And I don't think he's just frustrated with the media. I actually don't think his problem is with the media. I think his frustration is with the whole process. No pun intended. I think his frustration is with the entire organization and the PR team for them putting him in this compromising situation. I think he's frustrated with the lack of transparency himself, if we're being honest. One thing I was always taught from my parents, from my elders, don't let nobody speak for you. You speak for yourself. Don't put nobody in a position where they got to explain your actions. Don't put nobody in a position where they got to explain your actions. And the Philadelphia 76ers are putting Nick Nurse in a situation where he has to explain their actions. And trust me, I know Nick Nurse wants Joel Embiid on the floor. I know Nick Nurse doesn't want to be an asshole to the media because honestly, the way he handled that press conference was unacceptable. You have a job to do. Regardless if you're frustrated, regardless if you don't like the questioning, regardless if you're tired of answering the questions, you're the head coach, you're the face of the front office to an extent. You got to answer these questions in some shit, way, or form. You're PR trained, Nick Nurse. You've been in this league for a long time. Let's not pretend you don't know how to answer questions. Let's not pretend you don't know how to give a roundabout answer. Even if you gave them nothing, you don't say, I'm not answering that question. You don't give them you don't say, hey, you guys got the report, right? You got the report. You don't say that. You don't do that. Answer the question, get out of Dodge, move forward. Just keep repeating. You can even keep repeating yourself. We're doing our best to get Joel Embiid on the floor. We understand that the NBA made their decision. But regardless, we're gonna always do what's in the best interest of our players. We're always going to do what's in the best interest of our assets. We're always going to do what's in the best interest of this team. If that means taking a fine, so be it. Put your balls on the table, brother. Put your balls on the table and say, listen, I don't care what the NBA fined us. We're going to do what's best for our organization. Simple as that, Nick Nurse. Simple as that. Simple as that. But here's the bigger problem. Nick Nurse's press conference is not even the biggest problem. That's the tip of the iceberg. The fact that the Philadelphia 76ers have failed to be transparent. And Chris, look, the NBA is very funny about these fines, man. It's very hard to figure out how they go about fining and their investigations and whatever it may be. They believe that the Philadelphia 76ers were not transparent in their process. Let me see if I can find a more detailed explanation for this. Let me see if I can find something else about this. Because I want to read the statement by the NBA. That's what I need to see. The statement from the NBA. Where is it? They got it up here somewhere. I'm going to keep scrolling, though. I'm going to keep scrolling. You know what it is, too? NBA viewership is down as well. So that's probably why they're really upset. And also the Sixers are an easy target. It doesn't help. It doesn't help when your star comes out talking about he's not playing back-to-backs. Shut the hell up. You don't got to tell them that. You don't got to tell them that. Here it is. Okay, I found a statement. You guys. Here it is. Let's get to it. All right. Let's read this thing. So it says here, October 29th, 2024, the NBA today fined the Philadelphia 76ers $100,000 for public statements, including by President of Basketball Operations Daryl Morey and head coach Nick Nurse, that were inconsistent with Joel Embiid's health status and in violation of NBA rules, including the league's player participation policy. The league's investigation also confirmed that Embiid has been unable to play in the 76ers regular season games this season due to a left knee condition, and therefore his games missed have not violated the player participation policy. Okay, that's the part that confuses me a little bit, because either they violated the player participation policy or they didn't. Which is it? Which is it? That's what kills me. Hold on, y'all. Let me turn this fan off. This fan making my eyes water. Give me a second, man. Give me a second. All right. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to interrupt the show, but I got to make sure I'm comfortable to make sure I give you guys the best product. So again, I say the Sixers have failed. They failed to be transparent in this process. They failed to be transparent with their fans. The fans. The fans. The people who spend the money. I'm at the point now, and I've always felt this way, but I love basketball. I love football. I love the Eagles. I love the Sixers, right? But I have not trusted the 76ers for a long time. I haven't trusted the 76ers in years. Actually, you want to hear what's sad? I haven't trusted the 76ers since the Allen Iverson era. Ain't that some shit? I haven't trusted the Philadelphia 76ers since the Allen Iverson era. And even then, that was a little shaky. You made it to a finals, I'll give you that. AI was a godsend, for sure. But how can we trust this organization when they can't even be transparent about a player's availability? Is he hurt or is he not? Is he cleared to play or not? Which is it? Which is it? Keep the main thing says the owner might be more focused. The owner might be more focused on the Commanders than any other team they own. Look, man, I don't know if this is I blame Josh Harris for a lot. I don't like Josh Harris at all. I blame him for a lot of things, but Josh Harris is a venture capitalist. He doesn't give a damn about the inner workings of this organization. All he cares about, are we making money or are we losing money? I find it hard to believe Josh Harris is the one making some of these decisions. I'm looking at Daryl Morey. I'm looking at Elton Brand. I'm looking at that medical staff. There's been a lack of transparency by the 76ers. And for the life of me, I don't understand why. Why? What are you hiding? What are you hiding? If he's hurt, say that. Hey, if he's not going to be playing the first 2 weeks, just say that. Don't get me wrong. I understand as much as anybody. You want Joel Embiid healthy for the playoffs. We've seen him do amazing things in the regular season. Do not get me wrong. I understand. You want him healthy for the regular season. So I'm not mad about him not playing. I'm mad that we're not getting answers. We're not getting any sort of transparency. And the reason I'm mad that we're not getting that is because fans, spectators, we spend too much damn money to go to these games. It's my same logic for the NFL and the Eagles. It's my same logic. Fans spend too much of their hard-earned damned money to not know if he's going to play or not, or to at least not know when he's coming back. You got to pay for your tickets. You got to pay for parking. If you got to pay for your babysitter, you got to pay for a babysitter, but most of the time you're taking the kids to the game. But let's say you are taking the kids to the game, a family of 4, a family of 5. You got to pay for parking. Your kids are going to want food and something to drink. You got to pay for concessions. Your kids are probably going to want a jersey or a t-shirt or maybe a hat, some kind of Eagles gear. You got to pay for that. What are we doing here? What are we doing? If you're a drinker, you got to pay for it. You got to pay for your alcohol. Fans, I'm always going to be on the side of the people. Always. Now, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean I'm never going to be empathetic to a player. But the people spend too much money, bro. Too much money. That's why I felt it was necessary to shout out all our hard workers. All our hard workers. People who getting in blue collar. People who pouring their blood, sweat, and tears. There are people who cannot get days off or can't afford to take a day off. And then when they finally do, you know what they say? You know what? I think I'm gonna go to a Sixers game. You know, that'll really make my month. Seeing Joel Embiid, seeing Paul George, seeing Tyrese Maxey and those guys playing. That'll really make my month, man. I rarely get days off. I can't wait to go to this game. You go to the game, no Joel Embiid, no Paul George. You see Tyrese Maxey carrying the team. That's not what they paid for. I'm not feeling that. And again, if he's hurt, he's hurt. Like Paul George. We know Paul George is hurt. We saw that happen. We saw Paul George get hurt. So this conversation really isn't about Paul George, but I will say this. We were misled about Paul George as well. They told us, or at least there was the rumor or the rumblings was, Paul George will be available for tonight's game against the Pistons. That was the word that we heard. All of a sudden, yeah, Paul George, he's still being evaluated. We're going to reassess where he is later on in the week. So we don't know when we're seeing Paul George again. So that's a mystery in and of itself. We don't know when we're seeing Joel Embiid. Another mystery. if I take it a step further, beyond just speaking from the perspective of the spectator, what about making sure this team is ready come playoff time? You see, you want to make sure Joel Embiid is healthy for the playoffs, but you brought in so many new pieces. You brought in Paul George. You brought in Caleb Martin. You brought back Kelly Oubre. You brought back Kyle Lowry. You brought in Yabusele. You brought in Eric Gordon. You drafted Jerry McCain. There are too many new pieces on this team. There's too many new pieces on this team for them not to get the reps in. Last season, Joel Embiid missed 43 games due to a torn meniscus in his left knee on January 30th against the Golden State Warriors. He made it back for the playoffs, but then he ended up getting diagnosed with Bell's palsy. My man, half his face wouldn't work. He couldn't blink. Still was playing. I will never call Joel Embiid soft. I will call him injury prone, though. I don't think he's soft. I think he's just injury prone. So you didn't have him for 43 games last year. Last season, the Sixers went 31-8 when they had Joel Embiid. They went 16-27 without him. He is important to your overall success. You need that man. You need Paul George. You gave Joel Embiid that massive extension. You gave Paul George that 4-year massive contract. You gave Tyrese Maxey his big extension. A lot of money has been spent. You gave Caleb Martin all that money. A lot of money has been spent. A lot of it. And the fans are in no way considered in this process. The season ticket holders, the people that spend all that money to hold a spot. It's not right. And again, if he is hurt, if he can't play, don't play him. If he can't, I want to make that very, very clear. I don't want to get misconstrued by anybody. If he cannot play, don't play him. Simple as that. If he can't play, don't play him. Very simple. But at the very least, we can know where he is in the process. At the very least, we can know what his status is so fans can make an informed decision, an educated decision on how they spend their fucking money. You're robbing people of choice. You're robbing people of choice. You're making them guess. Will this be the game Joel Embiid comes back? Will this be the game Paul George is back? Will this be the game? Will this be the game? Just say, hey, Joel Embiid is out for the first month of the season. You won't see him until November. Now I can make a decision as a fan. Just say, hey, Paul George won't be here for the first 2 weeks of the season. Okay, now I can make an informed decision. It's not right. It's not right at all. And I'll say it again. The problem isn't Embiid's health. I want him healthy for the playoffs. That's what I want. I want Embiid healthy for the playoffs. And I'm not against that. The big problem is that they're not being honest with you guys. They're not being honest with the people. They're robbing people from making informed decisions. It's insane. It's insane. And Nick Nurse, you got to do better when answering those questions, brother. I understand it's a frustrating situation, but you got to do better. I'm sorry. You got to do better. You're frustrated. We're all frustrated. People go to work every day frustrated. Frustrated. Everybody frustrated when at their job for whatever reason. They still got to do what they got to do. No one is exempt from that. You're not special. Answer the question, get the fuck out of Dodge. That's my opinion, though. But I also understand his frustration with the situation. I don't want it to get misconstrued that I don't empathize with his position. But at the same time, it's part of it's your job, brother. It's your job. Let me get to some of your comments here. I appreciate y'all for locking in on the content. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys continue to smash that like button and smash that like button. And by the way, smash that like button. I appreciate you guys. Keep the main thing says Paul George is 34 years old with a 4-year extension. What the heck, Josh Harris? You know what? Paul George is coming off one of his best seasons. I like Paul George. I think he fits in nicely with an Embiid and a Maxey combo. I'm not ready to jump out the window and cast off Paul George. But he is older, and this will be his final max contract. This is his final contract. Don't be surprised if Paul George retires at the end of this contract. He's 34 years old. Don't be surprised. My man S. Blunt says, Tone, I was doing some research, and the rumor has it you were a Brooklyn Nets fan. All right, so let me tell you about that. So, growing up, I've always been obviously a Sixers fan, but there was a stretch where the Sixers were terrible. So yeah, I supported them and I watched the games and stuff. But in the NBA, people are fans of players too. And one of my favorite players growing up was Deron Williams. I was a huge, still is. I was a huge Deron Williams fan. I love Deron Williams with the Jazz. I love the Utah Jazz back in the day. Jerry Sloan, Carlos Boozer, Andre Kurlenko, Mehmet Okur. I was a big Jazz fan, a big Deron Williams fan. Wesley Matthews. Yeah. So then when Deron Williams went to the Brooklyn Nets, and then they became the Brooklyn Nets, and then Jay-Z became part owner or had an ownership stake in the Nets, I was like, fuck it, I'm riding. I was like, I like Deron Williams. I like the Brooklyn Nets colors at the time. Like, hey, Deron Williams, I'm rolling. Wherever Deron Williams went, I was cool with it. I don't know. So by proxy, by me supporting Deron Williams, I'm supporting the Brooklyn Nets. You feel what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I got close to the Brooklyn Nets. And I just rock with their gear. I thought their logo was pretty cool. They was a fresh team, a new look, the black and white. There was something simple yet swaggy about them. I don't know. There was something simple yet swaggy about the Brooklyn Nets at that time. Anyway, yeah. So that's pretty much how I became a Brooklyn Nets supporter at the time. But like I said, when it comes to the NBA, y'all know there's more people who are fans of players than they are of teams. People follow wherever their favorite player goes rather than follow the team. Tribalism in teams is more so an NFL thing, more so a soccer thing, more so a baseball thing. But when it comes to the NBA, people follow players more so than they follow teams. Let's see. Chris Scott says, 2 of my favorite teams are the Sixers and the Eagles. One owner loves the fans and the other don't give 2 shits about us. He bought a team and the Commanders a division rival. Who does that? Bro, exactly. That's how you know. Jeffrey Lowry, one thing I will always say about Jeffrey Lowry, he is always putting the fans first, always putting the people first, always making sure we got a product to come to and watch football, always making sure that we got a season worth watching, always. I will never have anything bad to say about Jeffrey Lowry for the Eagles because he always gives us a reason to root for this team. He always gives us a reason to watch football every single year. He always gives us a chance at being in the mix. I will never, ever say anything bad about Jeffrey Lowry. Never. Venice Pickett says, I'm a Celtics fan and I love the Eagles. Go Birds. Ooh, Venice, how do you balance that? Woo! Venice, how do you balance that? How do you balance being a Celtics fan and an Eagles fan? Woo! That's a tough combo. That's a tough combo, sis. I can't front. Looking for Sasuke says, been saying sell the team for 2 years now. Bruh, I want Josh Harris far away from the Sixers. I really do. I really do. I really, really do. I don't like that man at all. The Black Line, what's going on, bro? I ain't seen you in a minute. He says, I'm a diehard Washington Wizards fan and a diehard Eagles fan. I'm from VA. Okay, I can understand that. You from Virginia, right? So you got a decision to make. You got a decision. And you rocked with the Wizards. I ain't mad at that at all. I ain't mad at that. Whenever I see people who are fans of organizations that are going nowhere fast, I look at them like they soldiers. I look at them like they soldiers. The Washington Wizards, man, you know what's so funny about the Washington Wizards? I used to like them too. I was a huge fan of the Washington Wizards during the John Wall era. When they drafted John Wall, you know, when they had Kelly Oubre, they had Marcin Gortat, Bradley Beal, they had Paul Pierce for like a year or two. Who else they had? I was a big fan of the John Wall era in Washington. Big John Wall guy. Big John Wall guy. You feel me? Yo, the Black Line, you funny as hell, bro. He said, I'm out here thugging, bro. Anthony Crowback, what's going on, Chops? He said, I relate to that, Tone. I rock with the Sixers and also the Kings, but not as much as I do with the Birds. Exactly. Exactly, man. Exactly. Private McClunky says, Tone, would you say that the Sixers are the NBA version of the Dallas Cowboys? Because I would. Yes. Yes. Yes, I would. I would probably say, I don't know about the Cowboys isn't a bad comparison, but I probably would say the Sixers are like the Chargers of they're the Chargers. You know what I'm saying? They're like the Chargers. But the Cowboys, I get that too though. That's a pretty good comp, Private. That's a good comp. If I had to pick two teams, it'd probably be either the Cowboys or the Chargers. The Sixers are the NBA version of the Dallas Cowboys and the Chargers. They want you to think that they're serious about winning. They want you to think that they're spending money here, there. They want you to think that they're serious. And although I support the Sixers and I love them to death, I don't know how serious they are. I don't know how serious they are. They spend the money to make you think they're serious. Maxey, Embiid, Paul George. But there's still a disconnect. There's still a disconnect. So yeah, as spectators, as supporters of this organization, just your average NBA fan, we deserve transparency. I'm not saying sports betting is at the forefront. I'm not saying the end all be all as fans, but like, damn, show some level of empathy or compassion or respect to your consumer. Don't take us for granted. Don't think that Sixers fans are just going to show up because you're the Sixers. I feel like that's how Josh Harris thinks. I feel like the lack of transparency is a clear-cut display of that, taking fans for granted. Y'all spend too much money to be dealing with this shit. Y'all spend too much money. But anyway, tonight, the Philadelphia 76ers, they face off against the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons currently are 0-4 on the season. They haven't won a game yet. The Sixers, they're currently 1-2 on the season. But here's the thing, though, about the Pistons. They've been in damn near every game they've lost. They've been in games. and they've had a tough stretch. They've had a tough start. They've had a tough start to their season. The Pistons, they started the season playing the Pacers, Cleveland, Boston, Miami. Then they got Philly. Then they got New York. Then they got Brooklyn, Los Angeles, and Charlotte. Charlotte is looking good. The Lakers are looking good. New York is still who they are, regardless. The Sixers, Miami, Boston, Cleveland, Indiana. That's a tough way to start your season if you're the Pistons. They lost to Indiana by 6 points. Lost to Cleveland by 12. Lost to Boston by 6. Lost to Miami by 8. They've been in these games. Don't think that the Pistons are just going to lay down. Don't think the Pistons are just going to not fight for this win. They haven't won a single game. They are desperate to get that first win in the season. They're going to bring their A game tonight. You got to pay attention to guys like Cade Cunningham, who's having a stellar start to his season. Despite the 0-4 record, Cade Cunningham is having a remarkable start to his NBA season. Through 4 games, Cade Cunningham averaging almost 37 minutes a game. He's averaging over 26 points per game, averaging almost 6 boards a game, averaging over 7 assists, a steal, averaging a block per game. Now, he is averaging 6 turnovers, almost 6 turnovers, but he's the primary ball handler, and he's trying to get guys involved. But regardless, though, Cade Cunningham is a bucket. He's been a bucket since he got in the league. And he's getting better every single year. His averages have gone up every single year. And then they drafted Jaden Ivey last season. I like Jaden Ivey a lot. I love Jaden Ivey when I saw him playing at, what was that? Was that Purdue? Yes, Purdue. They drafted Jaden Ivey in 2022. I'm a big fan of Jaden Ivey. I loved him at Purdue. And Jaden Ivey averaging almost 33 minutes played a game, averaging just over 20 points per game, averaging almost 5 boards, almost 4 assists, averaging a steal per game, only 2 turnovers. Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey are their bucket getters. They're their bucket getters. Those guys are not going to lay down. And Tobias Harris makes his return. Tobias Harris makes his return to Philly since they decided to move on from him. I'm really curious to see how the fans treat Tobias Harris. And if I'm being completely honest, Philly 007, I might have to agree with you, brother. I got this weird feeling the Sixers are going to blow this game. I got a weird feeling that the Sixers are going to blow this game and Tobias Harris is going to drop like 25 points. Like 20 to 25 points. Watch. It's going to be that kind of night. That's the kind of luck that's been plaguing the Philadelphia 76ers. That's the kind of bad juju that's been around this building. Watch Tobias Harris come in here and drop like 23 points, 24 points, shoot like 45% from the field. He may go 4 for 7 from deep. Watch. It's going to be that kind of game. We'll see, though. We'll see. Who knows? But just know that the Pistons are not going to come in here and lay down. They're desperate for a win. They're desperate. Hopefully, Tyrese Maxey can continue to lead this team to more wins. Let's see if he can get them above 500. And again, before we get out of here, I want to make sure I say this and get this out there. This Sixers team will not compete for anything if Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George don't get at least 45 to 55 games together this year. I promise you. I promise you this. If the Sixers don't get if they don't get between 45 to 60 games, if they don't get at least 45 to 55 games with Maxey, Embiid, and Paul George on the court, they're not getting out of the second round. They're not. They got kicked out of the first round last year. You're more talented this year, sure. But at the end of the day, these guys got to play together. They got to learn each other's habits. They got to learn what guys like and dislike, how guys want to get past the ball in certain situations, tendencies, chemistry, morale, comfort. I promise you, if the Sixers don't get at least 45 to 55 games with Maxey, Paul George, and Embiid on the court together, they will not make it out of the second round. I stand on that. That's my bold prediction. Let me write it down. Let me write it down so I hold myself to it. I'm going to write it down. Because we're going to talk about this. We got a lot of time, y'all. A lot of games. If the Sixers do not get 45 to 55 games minimum with Maxey, PG, and Embiid, they will not get out of the second round. Boom. And what's today's date? October 30th? October 30th. Wrote it down. Wrote it down. Now I know this is chicken scratch, but it's here. It's here. 45 to 55 games. Simple as that. Otherwise, this will be another Brooklyn Nets situation with KD, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden. And it's as simple as that, y'all. I'm your humble host, Tone DeShields II. I am so grateful for you guys being here, man. Thank you for supporting the show. You guys have been really supporting the Sixers content. It's been growing little by little, brick by brick, every single day. And I'm so grateful that you guys have been really rocking with me throughout this growth process, right? I know a lot of you guys know me for talking Sixers, but talking Eagles, excuse me. A lot of you guys know me for talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. But I want to expand my horizons and talk more about the 76ers as well. So I really do appreciate you guys for locking in on the content. Just know, by the way, if you guys have not catching this live, that's okay. I want to give a shout out to you guys as well who watches after the fact. The content is available on YouTube for you guys to double back on. It's also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So if you want to catch more content in different formats, check me out on Spotify. Check me out on Apple Podcasts. The content always gets uploaded on those platforms within the hour after the live stream ends. So, again, continue to support me. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitch. We're live on Facebook. And if you want to catch me when I'm not live, check me out on YouTube if you want, or Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. And it goes without saying, y'all. It goes without saying. Thank y'all so much for the love. I'm your humble host. I've been your humble host, Tone DeShields II. And you guys were tuned into a Philadelphia 76ers edition of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Let's kick that record.